this is Ben with Life Judo. We're going to bleed the master cylinder. I'll be doing this on the bench, which is why they call it bench bleeding. I had shot this footage before with the new master cylinder, but something happened to it, so I had to shoot it again. In order to do that, I grabbed the old part, and that's what I'll be using. The principles are exactly the same. So let's take a look. What we want to do is get all the bubbles out of the master cylinder, and we want to do that for two reasons. The first reason is we don't want to be pumping those air bubbles through the rest of the system where they could get caught up where there weren't air bubbles before, and then you have to try and bleed them. The second reason is sometimes these master cylinders just don't bleed unless you do it right here. If you don't have a vise of some kind, first of all, if you're going to be doing your own work, like I've said before, get the right tools. Now this is a vise from my great grandfather, and it's totally awesome. And if you're lucky, you might be able to find this at a garage sale or estate sale or something like that. But if you can't find a really cool old vise, get a new cheap vise. Like I said before, Harbor Freight or something. You want a big heavy vise, and you want to bolt it to something big and beefy. We'll talk about vices later, but anyways, if you don't have this, you can try to get by with putting this in the car and bleeding it in the car without attaching the lines to it, but it's a pain. If there's any way to do it this way, do it this way. If for some reason you have a master cylinder but no access to an auto parts store or something like that, then what you can do to get by for bench bleeding is you hold your fingers over the openings, and what this does is create a seal where as you push it, you can hear it and see it squirting out on both of them. And now I put my fingers in, and now it's sucking fluid down from here into the master cylinder. And so now I do that again, and it doesn't allow anything to suck back past there, so your fingers are creating valves. And you do that, until you quit hearing bubbles. Like that. So that's one way to do it. This can be very difficult. Like I can do it on this one because there's two ports. Good luck trying to do this on, well, you can try to use your 5 fingers or both hands. Some of these master cylinders have holes, lines coming into them in multiple places, up to 4. And so you can try to hold these and maybe have a buddy push on this part, or do this and push onto it with your chest. But that's the low rent way to get it done, and that'll probably do it for you fine. Another thing you can use is a bleeder kit. Now, this was cheap. The bleeder kit was like $6 or $7. Now, I only bought one, and it looks like I need to buy 2 because I only had one of the correct thread pitch right here, so the right threads that would fit in here. What we're wanting to do is we'll screw this in, and this hose comes with this cool little clip thing right here, which will clip onto the edge. And what you're looking for is bubbles coming out of the hose under the fluid in the reservoir. And you just keep pumping, and ideally I'd have 2. I'd have another one run in here so that both are getting pumped out at the same time. You can see bubbles are already coming out of the hose. I'm not even pumping on it. And what we want to do is push this guy right here. We're going to push this guy in until bubbles quit coming out of there. See those bubbles? Now most of those bubbles are from air just in the hose itself. There we go. You saw that change? That's because this is an old master cylinder. But you can see that there's almost no bubbles coming out of there. So you want to be pushing that master cylinder in all the way. There we go. You can see the fluid pumping in there, and we got all the air out of that line. So that's what it looks like when it goes from pumping bubbles to not pumping bubbles. That's it for bench bleeding. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me. Thank you very much for watching and subscribing. And remember, like Heinlein said, specialization is for insects.